Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball special episode post-trade deadline. Jolly Olive is here. Let's catch up. Where are we in the season? Dog days. Dog days. Woo! Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. My name is Jake Stromboli. I am here with Jack. Do people know your real names?
I don't think they do.
Well, let's not. We're here with Jolly Olive. BBD is here. Dalton Feely is in the room. It's an exciting week at John Boy Media. We're hosting our floorball tournament. It was electric last year. Got like 50K views per episode before like our warehouse channel blew up, and now we got some like serious hockey influencers here, so really excited for the weekend. Excited, me and Jim a little excited to distract ourselves from Yankee baseball for a weekend, although 2-0. And our guy Trevor Goof, who was in town and we had a lot of fun with, he's busy Joe Mauer's retirement weekend in Minnesota. So he's out. Jolly's coming in out of the bullpen. I wish you guys could have heard. I was talking to Trev's delightful wife, Olivia.
Very nice.
And I was like, oh, who's heading up this weekend? And it was just a baseball reference list.
I would have loved
She was like, well, you know, the Dunsings are coming. I was like, Brian Dunsing. I was like, oh, my God. I can't hear that from Trevor's wife.
She calls him Brian, which is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. So, Jolly Olive, how are you? Welcome.
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
You know, they call me the Danny Valencia to Trevor Plouffe. You know, that's a deep cut for the fans. I'm good, man. I've done Talking Baseball before, never a recap episode.
Yeah.
So kind of popping my my recap cherry, if you will. Hey, now. And it's a kind of a trade deadline episode a little bit. We had first performances, which is always really exciting. And apparently the Yankees are back.
They're so not.
It's a really important moment for Jolly. We have to figure out if he's Matt Chapman or Miguel Sano.
Oh, that's interesting.
Ooh, similar body types.
I was going to say you're heading towards Matt Chapman, and then you said the cherry thing.
Come on.
Yeah,
You're
that's
talking to a champ right now.
hyper aggressive. Yeah, Jolly, the Talking Baseball people are familiar. I think the last time they saw you was the trade deadline draft.
Yeah, that was the Seattle ep.
How'd you do?
I nailed my second pick, and then Eduardo Rodriguez put his family first, which I have to respect, but it felt a little personal, the fact that it was going to be the only trade that was correct that we got.
I need you to hate E-Rod.
I'm not.
No, I do.
I'm not that guy.
Because I think it came out, and credit to Trev, and this is some, I don't want to say normie stuff, but it also came out that E-Rod was requesting things. Like E-Rod was trying to get that get taken care of a little bit. I don't think we got
full extendy.
Yeah, we didn't. I don't think we got full details, but it's funny. I think we think of no trade clause in the terms of like a Zach Greinke didn't want to pitch in a big city, so he's like, screw that. And E-Rod, he dropped the East Coast, and you're like, okay, like I remember Trey Turner's free agency, like sure, okay. And then it did come out like, no, E-Rod was trying to. I can only imagine like Dodgers. Let's do a 1 year. 30 mil extent. I don't know. I guess when you have the no trade clause, you can call your shots a little bit. So I didn't really.
That's why it's there, though.
I think it would have been like going bigger than the remaining whatever's left on the deal. He had 3 years left or something.
And it was like I don't know. So Dodgers fans, let's I want to do a little post trade deadline. It'll be a slightly unorthodox. We're heading back to the regular stuff. We will be able to eliminate more series and teams. I think there was one bad series. What was it? It was the last interleague.
Dodgers and A's, I think, right? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, in a way.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I want to do some post-deadline with you, Jolly. Yeah. I want to do some big series, and then we will do standout. We will do awards, some Fuego in there, and all the other good stuff. And speaking of Fuego in there, how about Hello Fresh? I had a nice talk with Lorenzo D'Amelia last night from We Got Ice, becoming the Floorball Weekend favorites, by the way. They've got a squad. Okay. Sorry. He has been Hello Freshing, and he loves it. It was like he came up and he was so happy because he is getting fresh ingredients delivered to him. Bang. So you don't have to go grocery shopping. And he's cooking a meal, and Zoe's kind of a process guy. Like, Zoe's liking it. He's like, yeah, you know, some of the meals, you know, you have to, like, actually put it in the oven and cook it. And Zoe's like, yeah, you know, that's kind of crazy. And it's like, yeah, man, that's life. That's kind of how a lot of society does it.
I mean, they sent both of us care packages. We had a nice conversation about the Tex-Mex enchiladas yesterday. Okay. Zoe was teasing it, how good it was. I made it yesterday for my own video. It was absolutely delicious. Not even a big enchilada guy.
Look at that.
Loved it.
So, yeah, you can kind of scratch an achievement itch. You can kind of scratch some good eating and save yourself time from going shopping and all that. They've got a ton of different recipes. And if you go to HelloFresh.com/Talkin50, I like that number on the end, code Talkin50 for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh.com/Talkin50 and use code Talkin50 for 50% off plus free shipping. There's a link in the description. Jolly Olive. I like to start out wide and aim small. That's kind of where I live.
That's how you live your life, too.
We are now 3 days removed from the deadline.
Something like that, too, I think.
Tuesday, so if you do Wednesday, Thursday.
Today being Friday.
Today would be the third. Yeah, I'm so out of it, and my next couple weeks are about to get jacked up. That segment got canceled. Real quick. I guess a couple days after the deadline. And Jolly, you're gonna at the end of the day, you're gonna become like a trade deadline historian.
I guess so. That's
because
what the path we're
now
headed
that's kind of where we're going. I guess a couple days removed from the deadline. What's the exhale from you? And hey man, if you want to end up in some Mets, because they ended up being kind of the surprise seller this year.
Yeah.
But a couple days removed from the trade deadline, where are you at?
You know, I'll spare the audience too much Mets talk, and I'll kind of make it a broad statement of a lot of teams picked a path, which is really cool. There were not a lot of stand pat teams at the end of the day. That's not even a slight. You guys, just
nice backhand, Federer.
Hey, Keenan Middleton, let's get excited.
Yeah.
No, but the Cubs, they stuck to their plan. They're buying. They're sticking with their guys. They got Jeimer Candelario. The Orioles kind of went in. They dipped their toe. They get Jack Flaherty. The Padres standing pat and, adding some pieces as well. It was really cool, but it was also probably the biggest seller's market we've seen in maybe a decade. And the Mets, I think, took full advantage of that, knowing that this probably wasn't the squad that's going to take them to the heights that they got last year. And they sold off big time, man. I mean, we talked about no trade clauses before for Erod. The no trade clauses for Verlander and Scherzer kind of got thrown out the window because those guys, I guess, just wanted out after hearing about what the plan was. But a lot of teams, the Marlins were buyers this year, which is really exciting as well. Kim Ng had
They did a lot.
They did a lot. They added a couple bats. They added to their bullpen, which I thought was really cool. So it's just exciting because, with this extra playoff spot, the entire landscape of MLB changes because so many more teams have that outside chance so late in the season as well. And this was a later deadline than usual, too, on August 2nd. So all of it, I really enjoyed. It might have been a quieter deadline compared to the last two with Soto last year, and then 2021, the Cubs dismantling everything and selling off their championship core. But every trade deadline is exciting at the end of the day, and this one was no different.
Yeah, I think when we were in it live, and it still holds, I think the lead up, it was dead for about a week leading up.
Super dead.
And then it went for a week, and it was cool. Scherzer, Verlander, I mean, those are two all-time kind of inner circle starting pitchers.
Right.
Like, you could do top 10 starting pitchers all time, and those guys have a pretty good argument to be in there. So the fact that they go, that adds something to it. And then, I think leading up to the actual deadline, like we were hoping for one more buzzer beater and, something surprising. And you don't want to put it on any team because, I guess there's...
It means somebody's giving up.
There's two levels to it, right? It's... Juan Soto, obviously, if something like that had happened again. But once they started buying, you knew they weren't selling pop.
I mean, this year it was going to be Shohei, and it didn't happen, and we knew that early enough.
Shohei, or even like if the Cardinals got an offer for an Arenado or something at the buzzer, there was room for one more big one. But I think the trade deadline as a whole was good, and I guess when we're doing instant reactions, we're live during the deadline, and you want to react the best way you can. I've already had a flip-flop, and maybe I'm biased from, I don't know, he had 8 hits in his first 9 at bats.
Yeah.
Our guy Jeimer goes over to the Cubbies, and I did this live on Wake and Jake, and I was like, oh crap, because I sat there and I said, if the Cubs have a bad week, they could put themselves in a bad situation, and then it'll be one of those. I think the Giants did it 2 years ago where they didn't trade Jock and they kept some guys, and they like a week and a half later they were like out of it again.
Yeah, last year.
Like,
we should have.
Yeah. So that for the Cubs, I had to go back and check my mental math on it, because do I believe in the Reds or Brewers to run away with the division? No, you can't. Like I can like both of those teams. Like the Brewers had the most Brewers deadline ever. Like, all right, here's 2 sticks. Here's Chafin on the back end. He looks like Bernie Brewer. Perfect Brewers deadline. Like, that's we almost could have drawn that one up. It feels like the Reds
in April.
The Reds are kind of one of the team that sneaky didn't do.
I mean, you look at the Central teams, it's Reds and Twins, 2 big teams that really didn't do much, and the Reds definitely got, kind of their ass handed to them for not doing anything.
Sam Mull comes over, so let's a little sign of respect, but
respect people adding middle relievers.
No, even the Orioles-Reds comparison that's been in my heart a little bit. Just like talented young offenses, good back ends. To add Jack Flaherty contrasted to not. And I know they're going to get pitchers back, and let's not instant react to the set series with the Cubs. But, okay, so I don't believe in the 2 teams ahead of the Cubs. They got the juice for a little bit. There's a business side of it that me and Trev, dove down to that's like, okay, hey, it's Wrigley, and they just built a big DraftKings sportsbook outside the stadium. Okay, so if I don't believe the 2 teams in front of them, you got the juice. Your pieces to trade, I don't know what a Stroman deal would have ended up looking like. We kind of, I guess there's rumors of an Erod deal, and he had the opt-out, so what would Stroman's had looked like?
And we still don't know what that trade would have been as far as the pieces going back. Right?
Cody Bellinger, no, we got none of that.
Yeah.
Cody, they kind of pull him off the table. And by the way, what was his value? Because former MVP is playing like an MVP again, but he wasn't that for 2 years.
There was a quote from Hoyer in the front office who, they're talking about Cody Bellinger, and he says, kind of smiling. And it's a very unemotional guy. He goes, he knows how we feel about him, which makes me think they want him long term.
I don't know. I know our guy Ian Happ re-signed there. I know a lot of Cubs fans probably assumed it was going to be a Rizzo and Bryant extension or Baez.
They're building something.
And if you look at run differential, they have the 3rd best in the National League.
They have the most runs scored since the All-Star break.
So I flip-flopped myself because I was like, the Cubs have a chance to look bad in a week and a half, but that's the game. That's we're playing. If you're putting your chips in, you might as well. So I ended up flip-flopping there, and at the same time, the Angels don't have the best week. They're now sitting in 4th place, and they've been adding to try to boost Shohei, and at the same time, you can't penalize them because their situation is so unique because they have. If you were playing a video game and, it's like, oh, here's the new draft class.
Yeah.
Oh, the top player, he looks like he's going to be a top 5 pitcher in the league and, top 5 hitter in the league. You'd be like, you'd take a picture, send it to your buddies and be like, oh my God, dude, the game fucking glitched or something. So they were in a bit of a unique situation. So
they had to do what they did. I mean, they have the best player in baseball. He ruined the question of if you were going to start your franchise right now, what player do you do it with?
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani. So you have to build around him or else you get nothing out of it. And it is one bad week, so we're kind of being the instant reaction pod right now. In a week, the Angels could have ripped off 4 out of 5, and then they're back into things. But they had a tough loss last night. Shohei's been doing everything, but he's been dealing with cramping and stuff like that. His start got limited. They did what they had to do. I just don't know if it's going to get them there in the end, but at least this is how it should be. At least they're trying,
Do you have I guess to close it off, because we have done a lot of deadline stuff, and we led up to it, and we'll get to... the rest of our reactions will be, kind of what happens. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Might be interesting if the Mariners get hot with their soft sell. They're kind of in the mix. That one's interesting to me still. I guess, is there a team that you sneaky liked what they did? There's a lot of like you mentioned the Marlins in passing. Like they sneaky did a lot. Like the Padres had the soft ad, which I'm a sneaky big fan of because it's, you're not really compromising anything while providing a little bit of hope. I guess of any of the teams out there, what's one that kind of stands out that maybe people aren't acknowledging?
Yeah, I think you nailed it with the Marlins, man.
Okay.
I mean, they could have stood pat and kind of just rolled with things and relied on the pitching to improve, and instead Kim in went out there and made some moves. I mean, they required moves. Josh Bell comes over. They deal a pretty serious prospect in Khalil Watson in that. He was a top 10 pick a couple years ago. But they get Josh Bell, they get Jake Berger, they add to their pitching staff, and they ripped off, they had a pretty rough series against the Phillies, but it would have been a 4-game sweep had they not won that third game where their new guys come through. Josh Bell gets 4 hits in his first game, including back-to-back homers with Jazz. Like, that's a formula, two big lefties in the middle of your lineup. That's something Miami has not had in years. So, I mean, to add that midseason probably gives them some juice. But, I mean, when I look up and down the teams, I think in the mid-tier, the NL had a great deadline, and the AL kind of had a bad deadline. Like Boston didn't really do much, and they're 6 games over. Seattle is a season-high 5 games over. They kind of sold and retooled a little bit, although people don't really like that word. And then in the mid-tier in NL, I mean, Miami adds, Arizona adds, Chicago adds big time. So, I mean, that's kind of how I'm judging it right now. I think they're both open playing fields, but one league was a little bit more cautious than the other.
It's interesting to start dividing things by league because I was doing a little bit of that on the way in today, and run differential. If you're into that thing, I'm not as I'm not. Yeah, it means something. I'm not as locked into it. I win ball games. I don't. At the end of the season, if you end up with a plus 175 compared to a 75, like in a way, in the postseason, it really don't matter. Like that's a number that gets thrown out the door quick. Like sure it's a sign of how dominant you could be at certain times. The AL, I want to say it's 10 teams positive run differential, 5 are not.
Nice.
And I think the NL is 6 positive run differential
Look
teams.
Look at you, Jake.
A little research, a little R&D on the way in.
I mean, number 1 and number 2 in the NL, Braves, Dodgers, yeah. Number 3 and number 4, Cubs, Padres.
Yes, sir.
And they added, so I mean, they believe in something.
That Padres number, I will say, as walking over myself, someone that's not fully locked in on run differential, seeing their number today was like, oh.
If you're plus 10, if you're plus 75,
it's tiers to this thing.
Exactly.
With tonight's games, the Padres could be the 3rd best run differential team in the National League, and
they're far out of the playoff spot.
That's if they get a little magic beans going.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to play them. They still need to get a lot of the magic beans going, but they're kind of going a little bit.
This version of Snell, we saw playoff Musgrove last year. You Darvish on top of all of that. Like, that's a 3 you don't want to face in wildcard series. I'm speaking from experience.
Oh.
Sorry.
The ear game.
I'm limiting
Joe Musgrove's
the Mets
ears.
talk,
Didn't you
right?
change your Twitter to Joe Musgrove's ears for a while?
I would do that.
That's your burner. That's my bad.
That's a little
Okay. We had a lot of guys making their debuts.
Very nice.
On their new teams.
Frenchman.
I did like seeing Josh Bell go 4 for 5.
I was
like, that's cool.
He kind of had a quiet season.
He can give you 2 good months.
And then he
Why
ripped
not?
Him off. I like that.
Him and Jake Berger in the middle of the lineup. I think
they
did a burger promotion.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They got that together quick.
They have to get Seth Beer next.
That's
Yes.
What?
jolly. You're not wrong.
Okay.
Let's dive into some games because the games do matter. Hello, Yankees. They had an interesting week.
Are you real right now?
They had an interesting week. Before we get into the games are brought to you by Rhone, R-H-O-N-E. Get your swag up with Rhone. They've got their commuter collection, most comfortable, breathable, flexible set of products known to man. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. I've met some men. Rhone helps you get ready for any occasion. They got pants, dress shirts, Q-zips, polos, anti-odor technology, 100% machine washable. Throw it in, put it back on, wear it again, clean it again, throw it back on. Kind of how it works, people. Head to Rhone.com/baseball. Use promo code baseball to save 20% on your entire order. 20% off your entire order when you head to Rhone.com/baseball. Use code baseball. There's a link in the description. Let's do a what matters. Again, people were I think this will sort itself more as we go. I don't think I'm going to burn again. I'm sorry for all the burn stance. It's okay. We'll be back Monday. I'll torture Trevor with them. But, we are a cron pod, and I'll go what Dalton has on the sheet. The first series I'd like to talk about in the National League, we're going out west. The Diamondbacks. Me and Dalton's Diamondbacks. They lose 3 out of 4 to the Giants. The Giants, they had a soft bye. A little A.J. Pollock coming to town. Why not? He'll hit some lefties, worst case. The DBacks, man. They got Seawald, and that's kind of fun, although Chafin goes out.
Yeah.
Giants take 3 out of 4. It ends in a 1-0 game. Our guy, Brandon Pfaadt, drops it, but it's not enough as the Giants win 1-0, which that's a real dagger, as these were all close games. We got 3 one-run games.
Yep.
The Diamondbacks had the worst July in the National League, which, my fandom, my 2 teams, Snakes and Yanks.
Tough.
Not the best July. So I'm excited to put that in our rear view. But they get off on the wrong foot here, and it's a little bit of Giants baseball, man. I mean, Logan Webb, Late Night Lamont, all the characters you want. And now I should have done some standings watch, but first I'll kick it back to you here.
I mean, I can give you that.
Giants are feeling good. We're 2.5 back. We're in second place. Snakes, and everything I said about the Padres, Snakes are 6.5 out of first now. And we need to get the train on track because right now it's off.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to give love to both sides here because I think we can say a lot of things about the Snakes. I'm going to
go hard on the Snakes.
We got good.
We need it.
We got good baseball out in the NL West. First, Giants, I think they're having a really interesting season because they had one of the weirder off seasons. They miss Correa, they miss Judge, they kind of add smaller pieces. And I'm looking up and down this roster, and all the pieces they seem to add from the outside kind of are disappointing. I mean, Haniger got hurt, and he hasn't performed that well. I mean, they add Michael Conforto, he's been league average, and then in the rotation, Stripling and Wood, these guys have not performed. Instead, it's the 2021 formula. It's the guys that they've acquired elsewhere. It's the veterans off the bench. It's the bullpen that has been absolutely great for the Giants in this recent run. And it's given that 2021 vibe of like, who are these guys and how the hell are they putting together these wins? And you look up and down this series, 4-3, 4-3, 4-2, 1-0. Pretty much all of them are one-run games. And that's why I want to give some love to the D-backs too, because I think they're playing better ball already than they did last month. Last month they were a tougher watch if you were tuning into those games. Just a lot of poor bullpen work, and Corbin Carroll quieting down really cools down the entire offense.
Dalton looks like he's about to
punch you across the face. I'm so sorry, Dalton, because he's looking right at me.
He's
and he
about
looks
to punch
so
you
sad.
across the face.
I mean, Lourdes Gurriel is turning it back on. They need that. They need to get Brandon Pfaadt a win, man. It's been 9 starts. He's been pitching better as of late. He still doesn't have his first win. But, man, Giants baseball, man, they'll kill you, especially if Alex Cobb is going and Logan Webb has a nice bounce-back start. And Late Night Lamont leads the team in WAR. How about that as well? They're both really fun teams to watch. I both think they have a really good shot to make it into that wild card because I think the Dodgers are probably going to take over the West from here on.
There is a gentleman that does deserve a big shout-out in this series, Patrick Bailey.
How about it, man?
Whoa. Okay. And this is... We don't say it as much as we should. We used to say it every show. You know your team better than us. And I'll be honest, watching full Giants games, not in my everyday routine. As much as I'd like it to be, that would be tough. That it's like, okay, Patrick Bailey, sure. Catcher, he's hitting a little. The kid, hearing he's good defensively. Then you see him essentially win a game. A guy Perdomo gets that work. That was cool to see, and that I don't know, man. Like if you are locked into baseball, which you're listening to Talkin' Baseball, and you might be interactive on Twitter or Reddit or however you consume your stuff, that was a okay. So that's something.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the formula. And Jolly, you mentioned the bullpen. I remember, I think one of the first things I threw out to you for a Jolly Olive video was the Giants bullpen, because I think they were first and second in ERA and WHIP, but they were like near the bottom in strikeouts. Yeah. And it was so what you expect from bullpens. But that team that won, the first thing I always point out is Buster Posey, because he had an MVP-ish type season. And then it's that bullpen. And hey, young catcher balling, he's not being Buster Posey, and getting out like lockdown outs in that bullpen. My guy Doval on the back end. That's my guy. Giants are real, and we didn't know that coming into the season.
I think it's nuts, because this is not the catcher that was promised. The catcher that was promised was Joey Bart, and it just never
was
really
available
clicked.
for trade.
Was available for trade at the deadline.
Mets didn't get him, did they?
Sucks we don't have a catcher, man. Oh, wait. Just kidding. Rookie of the month. Just saying. Patrick Bailey, back pick to end the game, caught stealing. Stop. He's been great. I mean, he had a slump just like the rest of the Giants lineup in July. They were last in batting average, OPS, and runs per game. But when you can get 6 innings from your bullpen out of just a bullpen that you've crafted from the ground up, it's special, man. And it helps with a rotation that kind of is relying on 2 good starts every turn from Webb and Cobb, and just figuring it out the rest of the way. And I want to give a shout out to the first baseball player that I ever interacted with. Humongous man, just got his first career MLB save deep into his career. Sean Manaea has been doing really good bulk work for them in the bullpen, so I want to give him some love. Giants are fun, man. Weird team, but a lot of fun.
The next one on our sheet, I already gave some opinions on, and I'm going to give some opinions later. And I think it's funny because I'll do some parallels to the series we just talked about. Snakes win that first game. They are a game back of the Giants, and it's like, all right, might as well win some games, get back into it, lose the next 3 in a tough spot. Cincinnati Reds win the first game, 6-5, sure. Encarnacion Strand, yes. They lose the next 3 to the Chicago Cubbies as they put up historic runs. Back-to-back games, a 20 spot and a 16 spot. Might be able to make some Chicago Bear jokes about that in a couple of weeks. And then they win the last game on a Jameson Taillon day, who you might hear more about in a little bit. I gave my speech about the Cubbies and a little bit on the Central. Ian Happ, big series, not a big deal. A friend.
Heard of him.
I should text him. I guess if you want to start in this series and you want to aim wide for the Central, I'm open to all of that, because I kind of gave my thoughts with the trade. Like, I do think it's wide open.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a big Cubs love pod, but it kind of has to be. This team was 10 games under 500 in the middle of July. There were 7 games under 500 in the middle of July. June was the other one, excuse me. And the fact that they've rebounded this way and just found a way to fire on all cylinders, especially in that lineup, it's really remarkable, man. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I was not super in on this team going into 2023. And Dansby's done his part. Cody Bellinger has gone far and above what he was asked to do in terms of just kind of finding himself again.
Prime peak.
Seya's been reliable this past month. Christopher Morel has been great. That's like one of the guys they've developed. But I want to give some love to Justin Steele, man. I mean, a lot of people kind of
can't give him enough love.
Sneaky dark horse on him a little bit for a while. Stroman took the spotlight for a little bit. Taillon had a good start, but Steele's been doing it all season long, and he's got the 3rd best ERA in the majors now at 2.65, which is just remarkable to me. So this is a Cubs team that has been banging their way to wins, but to get nice quality starting pitching, especially with kind of an unreliable bullpen for them, it has been really, really nice, and I think Steele's at the center of it. If you're asking me who gets that game 1 ball if they're in the wildcard series, I'm giving it to Justin Steele for sure.
Yeah, and I think, I know this wasn't part of the equation, but Stroman just went on the IL, or he got hit around a little bit, and he went on the IL. So the Cubs were in there. There was a couple times this year on this show where you know those cute Instagram dog videos where the dog turns their head?
And
yeah,
exactly.
I kind of did that with the Cubs a few times, because there were times where their run differential, they'd be the only positive run differential team in the Central. Right. They had like a 1-2 punch in Stroman and Steele that could go toe-to-toe with anyone at a certain point this year. And defensively, there's a lot of dudes on that team. offensively, so every now and then I do a head tilt that was like, Cubs?
Yeah.
They got hot, like at the last moment to get hot. They've put themselves in a good position. I guess with all the love that's going on, I'll still say it's not like I'm bought in. Like here come the Cubs, but the juice is going on at Wrigley right now. That's a city that's so thirsty for it.
Yep.
And I don't know. I guess I'm happy for them. You trade for Jeimer, you get 8 out of 9 out of the gates. Like that's ridiculous. And you don't want to overreact to the Reds, but you know, I'm sure in some Reds Reddit forums and things like that, you know, Chris Rose in our trade draft picked Ohtani to the Reds because the magic was so beautiful. And Ellie, we all gave him a little guff.
Yeah.
Clickbait Chris Rose.
A little bit of guff.
But, you know, you walk away with Sam Mull, who is having a nice year. He's got some funk out of the bullpen for you from the left side. But, like, I don't know. Remember when Jonathan India might be the biggest player traded and then he got banged up? I don't know. I'm not saying that should affect the Reds because they were going to play a lot of these young guys and that's their plan and they weren't going to compromise their future. And there could be a Talkin' Baseball coming up where it's like, whoa, Hunter Green's back and his innings are low and watch out. I don't know. I'm happy for Cubs fans. And if you're going on paper again, I wasn't enthused with this Cubs team going into the season. Yeah. If you put them and the Brewers and Reds, just roster resource next to each other, shrug.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can I add a little spice to that?
Always.
One thing I love about this NL Central is that I think the records for all three of these teams are going to be impressive by the end of the season, regardless of who makes it, because rest of the way, 9th easiest strength of schedule, Cubs. Okay. 7th, Cincinnati. 6th, Milwaukee. All of them have pretty favorable schedules going forward, and there's no reason why these teams can't go and make it a really, really fun race for not only a wild card spot, but also the division. I want to see more than one Central team make the playoffs. I'm sick of one of them getting in like a mid-fest and then just getting knocked out. I want to see more than one of these teams because I think they're really exciting and they have a lot of fun, exciting young players. But if you ask me right now which team I believe in the most, maybe it's because I'm riding the hot hand a little bit. But the Cubs just looked really impressive, man, and they absolutely dumpstered the Reds in Game 2 and Game 3. They put up 36 runs in 2 games. But then that last game was really impressive, too, because they didn't have that crazy offensive output, and Jameson Taillon, who's finding his form again, gives them a quality start that they needed, and that's how they take 3 or 4. That's their formula. So the Reds, they're lucky to get out with that first game. They beat Stroman, but I think not adding to the rotation, even in a small degree at the deadline, is really going to hurt them going down the stretch.
I do. While we're in the NL, I think standing-wise, I will do this. The wild card currently is the San Francisco Giants are in by 2.5 games.
Top seed. How about that?
The Phillies are in by a game. The Reds are currently your 3 seed in the wild card. The Fish are a half game out. The Snakes are a game and a half out. The Cubbies are 2 games out. And the only other kind of lurking team, the Padres are 4 out.
Yeah.
Mets 7.5.
I've seen them blow 7 with 17 to go. So anything can happen. Just saying.
I guess, and when we get to the AL, we get to the AL. The wild card there is, I think we're in a good spot with the wild cards right now. I know, and I partially agree with Jimmy because it depends how this finishes. That you don't want to, if the race for that last wild card spot becomes whoever gets 84, you're in. Yeah, I don't love that. I fully get that. In both leagues, we've got enough teams going for it that it feels like, an 88-win season isn't nothing to like.
I think it might be you got to win 90 to get in.
That's the number you'd love to throw out there. I feel with all these teams and how much everyone has to play that in my head feels tough. That would be sick. Yeah. Like a 90-win team isn't a joke.
At least this year, for sure, it seems like you got to be good to get in this year.
Yeah, totally.
We need a larger sample size before we start making decisions about the format.
I will. You did say mid-fest before. If we said the teams fighting for the final wildcard spot in the NL were Cincinnati, Miami, and Arizona and Chicago, we would have said, whoa. maybe we
If
did
you said in
expand too
April we
fast.
weren't going to call that a mid-fest.
Yeah.
No, it's
March.
awesome, man. It's been really, really fun to watch. I think it's made it easier for me to, as you know, as a Mets fan, kind of accept 2023 not our year, but it's made it easier to just pick up a random game at night and watch it because almost all of the games on schedule have some sort of playoff implication now. And some people are purists and they don't love that, but I just think it's better for the regular season of baseball.
I'm interested to see where it lands.
Yeah.
And you know, the other thing that's truly more important than that is how is it going to affect playoffs? Because I know last year we did a whole, you know, if you play in the first 3 games, does that give you an advantage? Like, well, you know, the Phillies went from, it was Phillies Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
And you know,
Those were the road team.
Cardinals defense let them down. The curse of the Phillies. How crazy was that?
Helsley that 9th inning.
Nolan Arenado, Helsley in the 8th. Hey, Cardinals fans, adding to your season. The last NL series that I think I want to talk a little ball about. Why don't talk about my Nationals more?
Gotta talk Philly, Miami.
You got to talk Philly, Miami, and I'll honestly kick it to you because you've seen a lot of these teams this year, and you know I can give the same Philly, Miami speech that's like Philly's so talented, and you don't want them in the playoffs. Miami, they got pitching. Is the lineup going to figure it out? Phillies take 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Hello, Phils. The game the Marlins win is in 12 innings, a survival match.
Yeah.
Otherwise, these are pretty close games. These are pretty low-scoring games. We see another debut, Michael Lorenzen.
Yeah, big
8
one.
innings pitched, 2 earned runs. He's been on a bit of a heater. And again, for Phillies, we liked that because they didn't necessarily need a 1. They had guys in their rotation that, you know, it seemed like the price lined up right for Lorenzen. And, you know, what? Could that guy be a bullpen guy come October? Could he throw a start for you? I don't know. I guess with these two teams, Jolly, what have you seen this year? Whether it's, you know, watching these teams play the Mets or just people are still obviously more skeptical of the Marlins than the Phillies. Phillies went to the World Series last year. Marlins, yeah. So
what I'll say is that on paper, these matchups should be really fun because you think of one team as the pitching team and one team as the team that banks. But the funny thing about the Phillies, man, is that I feel like a lot of their success this year has been from their pitching staff because they just haven't gotten super consistent great performances from this lineup that should be like a top 5 lineup. And obviously, the center of that is unfortunately Trey Turner, our friend. He's having a tough year. He had a tough game in Game 3, which was the one that they dropped. But when you look up and down this Phillies lineup, man, you still got 7 above league average hitters, and then they add Lorenzen to this rotation with Taijuan Walker, who leads the league in wins. I don't know if wins your thing, if you put that in your cup of tea, but he leads the league in wins. That means
where did he come from?
Whoa, that's tea. That's tea.
That's
you got that,
that's toxic.
You got
that's
that?
a foul.
You got
That's a
that?
foul.
I got a lecture
Non-shooting.
before the episode.
Non-shooting,
I'm just
but
saying.
that's a foul.
That's tea. And Lorenzen comes in, balls out, gives them 8 innings they desperately need because their bullpen's been used a ton recently. They're 34-18 since June 2nd. That's the second best record in Major Leagues. Like, at the end of the day,
Circle that.
like, Phillies are winning a lot of close
Circle
games,
that.
but they're winning them, and that's the most important part. They haven't had 100% of Bryce Harper, but he's been giving them clutch hits when they need it, and that's just what he does. Castellanos had a great year, slumped a little bit, then came up with a huge hit. They're finding ways to get it done. One guy I want to highlight, and it's a Dave Dombrowski quote because I thought it was really interesting. The Phillies have pulled a lot of these guys from outside with money to build this team, but one guy they developed who's been raking is Johan Rojas. And Dave Dombrowski said, in any trade, he is off the table. We're not trading him. We like what we see from him. And that's pretty substantial to me. He's hitting .346 since being promoted. And he's another one of these outfielders that has come up.
Is
and
that
really
shots
good for
fired
them.
at Alec Boehm?
No, sir.
Are we having a Bowman right now?
Hey, Boehm's having a good year.
Best hitting with runners in scoring position since Chooch. Did I see that on the
Is that
sheet? I
real?
think I did.
Nice stat, though.
I have a friend who named their dog Chooch.
That's a good
after
dog
Carlos
name.
Ruiz.
Good dog name, good baseball player nickname. Not a great human name.
Okay.
I would eliminate it from the running there.
Didn't ask for the hot takes.
Sorry. Josh Bell, 4 for 5 in his first game with the Marlins. That was cool. Homering with Jazz. Fun series, man. Really fun series.
Circle the Phillies winning a lot of games stats.
Yeah.
Second
Feels
best
easy.
record since June 2nd. It's August.
Yeah.
That feels like a number come if you keep up that pace, things are going to be very interesting. Jazz Chisholm's back for the Marlins. They retool the middle of that lineup with Berger and Bell. And, yeah, it's a team that I think sneaky a lot of baseball fans are rooting for. Like, it's Miami. It used to be Jeter.
Okay. And then he left, and they're good.
Gets sad.
That's kind of weird.
Gets sad on the air.
Miami's really fun. I'm going to interrupt that a little bit. I mean, Berger and Bell, you can sell a shirt with that for sure if they start to go and bang. Arise still hitting 380, by the way, in case anyone's still keeping track of that. But De La Cruz, they got him in a trade a couple years ago, I think, for like Yimi Garcia. He's turned into a real player for them as well. And it's the rotation, man. Luzardo's having a great year, Braxton Garrett. And I want to put a little finger on Sandy Alcantara. Last 2 starts, 17 innings, 1 earned run.
Turning the corner.
If they're going to go and make this run and complete it, he's got to be Sandy, and that's kind of what it's looking like right now.
Brewers, I'm sorry you played the Nats. Padres, same with the Rockies, although Gary Sanchez.
Crazy game there, too.
Don't let that guy play. If the Rockies ever sign Gary Sanchez, just pencil in 40 homers.
Where do you think Gary's OPS would rank on the Yankees right now?
To the American League.
That was toxic.
That's,
I remember the time on
charge.
Walker.
I was looking at Gary Sanchez's WAR the other day, and he would have been top 5 on the Yankees.
I knew you were on that page.
Already on that.
I knew you knew the answer. That's why I asked.
But he can't catch, except the guy who's going to win the Cy Young this year. In the American Liga, the series we're going to start off with is the Baltimore Orioles and the Toronto Blue Jays. And this has some fun facts tied to it as the Orioles take 3 out of 4. It ends with a Jay Flair debut. Could be some stuff on him later. The Blue Jays win that 3rd game, which it's always, again, the ebbs and flows of a series. Orioles win the first 2. Second game's a blowout. They put up a big number, 13 spot. Jays win that 3rd game, and it's like, okay, 4 games set. We could win 2. We're good. We're back to neutral. Instead, Jay Flair drops it on him. Ryan Mountcastle has a big series, who I thought that was a guy they were going to trade. He had a bout with vertigo, and now he's back, and he has a couple 3+ hit days. Okay. He was like out of their lineup, and they didn't skip a beat, really. The other thing here that jumped out that was a Daltonian stat, 8-2.
Yeah.
The Orioles are 8-2 against the Blue Jays this year. This isn't Oakland. This isn't cleaning up where you got to clean up. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I will admit the Yankee fandom kicks in with the Blue Jays because they had the popcorn thing, and their fans on the internet sometimes can come in a little hot. You can't go 8-2 against the Birds this year. All due respect to the Orioles because they can and they have, and they're awesome. But the Blue Jays, for what your goals were this year, 8-2 to the Orioles. Can't do that.
I mean, it's even larger than that. It's 8-23 in their own division too. Woo! And these are the games you got to win, especially with less division games on your schedule than ever before. And got to give some love to the O's, because have they failed any test that has come their way this season? Because I can't recall any big series that they've lost. They've been the best team in ball for basically a month now, and it doesn't look like they're going to slow down anytime soon. And the one substantial addition that they get at the deadline comes out there and wins the series for them in his first start. And his fastball is at 97, the fastest it's been in 2 years. That's the definition of
you guys talking about
hopping
Jack
into
Flaherty
a race
too much.
and getting some juice. And I also want to give some love to Hyunjin Ryu. Came back, made his first start off the injured list. He had Tommy John last year, one of my favorite players, so very happy he's back and healthy. But you want to talk about
George Springer comes back too. So
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Bo Bichette goes out, and we'll get some timeline stuff on that. But it's think about that. If you told Blue Jays fans like Ryu and Springer come back, those are 2 of their first big free agent splashes.
Like they kind of started this entire thing.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Whoa.
But you want to talk about some Orioles love. I mean, last year, one of my favorite jokes with Kevin, our socials guy, was Jordan Lyles just eating up innings for the O's. He was the innings eater.
Really was.
Now they have 4 innings eaters. They have 4 guys with over 110 innings pitched this year. I don't know the numbers on how many teams have that right now, but I'm not going to assume it's a large number. And at the center of that is our guy Gibby and Bradish as well. Bradish, Dalton had a great stat. He's pitched 6 or more innings in each of his past 7 starts, 8 of his past 9. And when you have this absolutely lethal 1-2 at the end of your bullpen, if you can get 7 good innings from your starter, you should be winning every game that you get that. And that's like, you think back to that Royals bullpen, that was their formula. Get 5 or 6 from your starter and then just shut things down at the end. That can work for this Orioles team that also bangs way harder than that Royals team did.
It's going to be interesting to see where the innings are on a lot of those guys come year end, and hopefully Jay Flair can take some of that heat, and he will, and he did, and you might hear more about him later. And yeah, I know we've talked about him a lot, but Gunnar Henderson changed the whole complex of that lineup a little bit, and they got options in that lineup, and they didn't. For Jack Flaherty, they didn't sacrifice anything. Yeah. They didn't sacrifice any part of this 5-year window. You're right. They pass every test because they don't have the top end starter. We don't give them the respect they deserve. Like if they traded for Verlander, we go, oh my God, the Orioles. Is this the year? Let's cut that out a little bit because
Jake, I got one last thing.
Kind of dominating the AL East right now.
7 games between the O's and Jays played in Toronto. The Blue Jays have won 1 of those games.
Take care of your business, Bob.
At home. Tough.
Speaking of taking care of your business, the Yankees hosted the Rays for 3 games. The Rays took 2 out of 3. The Yankees offense was sleeping for a lot of these games. Don't let the 2 runs in Game 2 fool you. They were right at the end there.
It wasn't fooled.
Stanton pinch hit for IKF, worst pinch hitter in baseball. Statistically.
Dude's meant to play full games.
It's only if you're going by the stats.
Are we doing?
Me and Davis and Coach Boone, we've done this already. And honestly, Jolly, I don't want to dive into the series, not as a sad Yankees fan, but as a good team, 1, 2 out of 3 against last place team.
I mean,
that can if you erase the name Yankees, I would skip this series, and in a way we should. But I'd like a tight minute of Rays thoughts from you, and maybe one Yankees burn at the end.
I won't burn the Yankees because they looks like they're finally turning their corner. I don't think they're back.
You think they're back? Yankees are back, Jolly.
I think they had a
Olive.
really bad deadline.
Make one of those Twitter quote things.
And they're kind of just relying on their guys.
Yankees are back, Jolly Olive.
You could do that. The Rays, though, I mean, Tyler Glasnow, he's so big for them, man. I mean, it's very rare that we've seen him on the field.
He was pitcher of the month, I think. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. There's a formula there. But he looked basically unhittable in his start against the Yankees. I mean, he's just spectacular when he's right. And hopefully he stays right for the long term. But when you go against the Rays, and the Rays were giving you their 1 through 3, they gave you Glasnow, Eflin, and McClanahan. It's tough to even pick up one win there, in my opinion. And if they find themselves as a wild card team, like if the Orioles finish this run and they win the East, I think the Rays are still in a really good spot, man. I mean, they have a good track record with these wild card games. They have this dynamic 1, 2, 3 when you think of them as like a bullpen-oriented team. They have the starters now to really just beat anybody in that 3-game set. And it's the same formula as it's been. The guys that are no names that you've never heard of are just having career years. Yandy Diaz has a 152 OPS plus. 152.
Yeah, man.
That's ridiculous, man. It's just, there's only so much you can say without being repetitive about the Rays, and it's just the fact that they have the best front office in baseball, and they find ways to get the utmost value out of all of their guys, and it showed big time in the series.
That's a volley trade.
Yeah,
that one was pretty sneaky, huh?
That's a real
that
number 4,
pretty
man.
Sneaky.
That's some teams' number 2.
That's arguably one of the biggest trades. I mean, Manzardo was the biggest prospect traded. Savale's a good starter.
Great starter.
If you want more talk on that, there's a couple of Talkin' Yanks episodes you may want to listen to. I have never gotten more comments from people about our interview with Boone because he was disappointed.
You guys interviewed Aaron Boone?
Go check that out.
That's cool. Like the manager?
Mariners take 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox. Mariners win the bread game. Obviously, the Sox win the Bayo game in the middle, undefeated this year. This was interesting when I opened the standings this morning because I'll be honest, I've obviously been a tough place with our Yankees. And, seeing them 2.5 games out of the wild card is like, okay, maybe Yankee fans do suck. Maybe we're crazy overreactionary. Like, good week or two and the Yankees are back in the dance and then I'll believe in Cole Rodon and anything. Maybe not Rodon yet. They have the same exact record as the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
Who sold off a little bit, 57 and 52. They're 2.5 games back. Trev, they're the team that he's been getting caught up on recently, and I'll give Trev some kudos. When he gets hung up on a team, I don't know. He's got a decent little track record of being like they're different than what their record says, and they were supposed to be this year, and now I'm not going to open it up yet because Texas and Houston go out and sweep. So that's what's going on in the AL West right now. Seattle is 6 back in the West. There's a lot more daunting numbers out there than that, or what that could be in a little bit. So that ended up being bigger picture, and I don't know what you have on this series, or if you
I want to put
taste
some
the
lime in
Mariners.
that drink. I want to put a little bit of squeeze, some lemon in there, because the Seattle Mariners have the second easiest strength of schedule left. They've got 6 against the A's. They've got 7 against the Royals. They've got 3 against the Sox.
7 against the Royals?
7 games against the Royals.
13 games against the A's and the Royals.
That might not matter to some people. That matters to me, man, because if you can rip off
that
a
should
9
matter
and 4,
to everyone.
If they rip off a 9-4, you're looking at a team that's 10 games over 500 deep into the season. That is
And that's
substantial.
low, man. That's a low number, to be completely honest.
This series was a battle of teams that I'm kind of mad at for not going harder at this deadline. The Mariners, they did their thing. Dipoto loves to trade. I think they shed some fat for sure, but I think they needed a little bit, man. I think they needed a little bit of juice because they've had really inconsistent starting pitching from their younger guys like Wu and Miller, and you can't put so much on their top 3 there. But they sold Seawald, which really shocked me, man. I know some people expected it, but I didn't see it coming. They got a good return for him, in my opinion, but that felt like a piece they kind of needed in big games going down the stretch. But they showed out this series. They had the best record in July at 17-9. They're closer in the West now, and J-Rod is the big thing there because he's got a little on-base streak going now, 27 games. I shouldn't call it little.
27.
He needs to go. I don't know if you've seen the leverage stats from him this season, but he's come up in a lot of big spots this year. He hasn't come through in a ton of them, especially at home. If they can get him to return to that MVP caliber level, and they have this really easy schedule going forward, and guys like Ty France can bounce back and stuff like that. And they get Kelenic back, who was really good for them, too.
They moved on from Wong.
And they moved on from Wong. They pivoted there. There's no reason why this team can't make it. And you know who's at the center of things, Jake? Your fucking guy, J.P. Crawford.
Cal Raleigh. Yeah, man.
Cal Raleigh.
They were... I had people send me the receipts this weekend of I was like, I think the Mariners can give Houston an honest run for their money. They were one of my potential takes was they could be next in the AL, very much compared to the Blue Jays were kind of supposed to be next, or the Orioles. What kind of timeline were they on? And they're looking like it, but 6 games back in the division, 2 months to play isn't with that schedule.
Take 2 out of 3 every time.
The bad news with that. If I do ever get more Yankee hope, that's just another... Actually, and this is a perfect time. I mentioned some of the wild card standings there. Tampa is currently in 5.5 games up. Yeah. Chasing the Orioles now. Houston is 2 games into the wild card. Okay, makes some sense. Yeah. Sure. Toronto is your last team in right now, 60 and 50. Boston 2 games back. Yankees a half game back of them. Same with the Mariners. And the Angels are 56 and 54. That's
something.
Let's be careful, Halos. Let's be careful, Halos. As I mentioned, Houston swept the Guardians. That's tough with Savali out of town, and I don't know. I don't know. Josh Bell, Segura gets cut. I don't know, guard dogs. Yeah. Sneaky hate the way you guys run your team. Rangers sweep the White Sox. That's, not same as same in a little bit. Scherzer doesn't have the best debut, doesn't
He gives him a quality start. Had a bad first inning, rounded it out. I don't think he had his best
pitches
stuff.
in the first.
It's tough
to grind back. Yeah. That's pretty impressive. So, Mariners are joining the party, huh?
They just feel like a fun team to talk about. I mean, we got to talk about
John Cox is back.
Framber too.
You're gonna hear about him in a minute.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's the good news for all my people in a funky town, city where the top drop. Kelsey Wingert's in town. We love that. Let's see what the Interleague has for us before we start moving to some of the other fun stuff. Well, here you go. And it's brought to you by Factor. Bing bong.
2 food
Factor
sponsors?
meal. Yeah, man. And it's a different thing. This is more on the go. This is throw it in the microwave, get yourself some good food. I had a cheddar broccoli chicken the other day. It works. I'll be honest. I was a little skepty, and I don't like saying that word. I was a little skeptical. I was like, hey, I'm getting a little older. I'm early 30s. Sure. I'm about to hit that second Longoria peak. But, in my 30s, like, should I be doing microwave? With these, yes. Factor's fresh, never frozen. That's part of the difference. And it's 2 minutes. Poke some holes on the top, put it in the microwave, go pet your dog for a minute and a half, wash your hands, open it back up, and then let it eat. I lived off a week for Factor meals, and I was skeptical I could do that. And I did. So you can head to factormeals.com/Talkin50. Use code Talkin50, 50% off. Talkin50, factormeals.com/Talkin50. Click the link in the description.
And if you go, get the creamy Parmesan chicken. It's
yeah?
very, very good.
You're
I was
in.
a fan.
CPC.
That sounds up my alley.
Yeah. Oh.
Let's do a tight IL as we're coming up against it. We got to give the room to Chris Rose and you.
And me again.
And
Tough.
you again, because Trev's out on a lake in Minnesota.
That's fine.
With a baseball reference litany of Dozier's out there.
The grids they could fill.
Even like a courtesy invite would have been nice. But
I'll get there.
I'll get the after party.
Angels and Braves. Big picture on the Braves doesn't change at all, if I'm being honest. Giolito has a second outing. He gets touched up a little bit in this one. I don't know. I mean, it's 2 out of 3. Braves are really good. Halos, you're just walking that tight wire act because don't drop below 500.
Yeah.
Don't get out of the wild card race because then the LOL Halo jokes are going to come out. And I'll be honest, I told people at the start of the season I'm not going to buy into this team until they prove me wrong. I've hit that point with the franchise.
Totally.
And like Jimmy said, and it's genuine, like, I want to root for this. I want to see Ohtani and Trout in playoff games. Like, are you kidding me? I want to support a team that added at the deadline.
Totally.
So I don't want to overreact to a Braves team that Matt Olson's going to hit 50 homers this year. Casual. Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to win the MVP. Casual.
Yeah. Maybe Freddie Freeman.
Spencer Strider is going to break some sort of strikeout record. Casual. So I guess outside of any of that.
I mean, I've been a big schedule watch guy this entire podcast. Sorry if you hate that. Upcoming for your Los Angeles Angels.
No.
4 at home against the Mariners.
Big series.
3 at home against the Giants, who we just gave a ton of love to. Then they go on the road. 3 at Houston, 3 at Texas. And then 3 at home against the Rays. All in a row for like 15 games. At the end of that stretch, I think we're going to know exactly what we're dealing with this Angels team, who has shown that they can pull out a big win and get a big hit. And I think they realized that they needed some reinforcements to really try and make this run, because if they didn't, I would have argued that they should sell fully, like fire sale. And there's a lot to like. There's a lot to not like with this rotation, with this lineup up and down. But these are the series that you got to try and gut out. I know it's a tough ask to beat these Braves because they are a wagon, as many people say. Pretty much everyone on the roster has at least 10 home runs, and you're going up against Spencer Strider. But, time's winding down for these Angels, who have had to kind of load manage Shohei a little bit with how much they've been asking for him. I think, you want to know what a key factor is here, man? I think they need to get Trout back, and they need to have Trout.
I could see that.
I could see him mattering 2 months, because we've never seen Trout in the heat of a playoff
That'd be
race.
fun, right?
That's a storyline, man. If you add an MVP to your lineup out of nowhere with all the other additions between Mickey Moniak in the offseason, Eduardo Escobar, Moustakas, so the guys they had at the deadline. That is an X factor for me. And every other team that's in front of them feels like they have some form of X factor that is going to help give them some sort of advantage going down. And the Angels need it, man.
I'm the hope guy.
I'm a big hope guy.
There's hope in Seattle.
Yeah.
There's real hope in Seattle.
You might have mentioned things being in front of people. I don't know.
Texas Rangers have looked pretty darn good this year. Darn too.
Potent.
Added Max Scherzer, added some things. Houston Astros, nobody's going to bet against, only for their last 6 years of success.
Yeah. Where do they fit in?
I don't know, man.
Where do they fit in? And we didn't even talk about the AL East, who is probably going to have at least 3 of these playoff spots.
All positive run differential, all of that. Yeah, man.
It's a tough year to buy in, but you had to.
But I'll give Mike Trout 2 Siggy months. Why not? Let's make a memory before they trade him to the Yankees.
4 games out. 4 games out.
Twins, St. Louis.
Pablo Lopez.
Congrats. My ask of the Twins is figure it out because you're going to make the playoffs by default.
I'm out on the Twins.
You should be, but they're going to be in the playoffs.
They just made me not care. I cared a little bit. Now I don't care at all. I'm mad at them.
Eat it, Trev.
Sorry.
Dodgers, Oakland A's. That series is couple, 30 years from being
Ahmed Rosario
good.
made his debut. Hit a home run.
We love that. Miggy Rojas had 9 years between Dodger homers or something. That's awesome. A little fun fact.
Awesome clip.
Royals, Mets.
They played this weekend? That happened?
I don't know.
Royals 6 in a row.
It's about hottest team in baseball.
Drew Waters? Does that do anything for you?
No. And Pirates, Tigers. Go, Erod, go. Win the Cy Young. Why not?
Good for him.
Let's go on to the second half of the show, and I'm good. We have a little more time than I thought that we can digest this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to Standout Performance. Standout Performances brought to you by Dalton Feely. And the JM Warehouse.
Hell yeah.
Floorball when it comes out. Playoff time.
Baggage first
We
banner.
really bank stuff. People are hoping. I have a banner. Anyways, standout performance, Jolly. I will kick off to you.
Okay.
Who would you like to talk about as your standout performer?
A lot to love here. I mean, I think one of the guys I definitely want to highlight, Cody Bellinger. We gave him some love earlier in the episode, and I've been all on the Cubs. I'm not even a big Cubs guy. But the fact that they're making it abundantly clear that he is a part of their future plan, and they kept him at the deadline, and then he went out and he balled out in this Red Series.
But you're not giving it to him.
I'm not.
Okay, great. Good standout so far.
I'm going to give it to his teammate, his new teammate, former Cub and current Cub now, Jeimer Candelario.
Wow, okay.
Who
Tasty.
8 for 9 as a Cub already?
Not bad.
Let's talk about
Not
it.
the number one player that comes to the tip of your tongue at all, but God.
I mean, the Cubs added
have a
smart.
season, have an ad.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to the Nationals because I think they did what every team in the cellar should do. Give some guys a little bit of dough, see what they can do, flip them at the deadline.
Right.
Build your franchise that way. And Candelario, I think, is the best case example of it from the last offseason. He came in, he was the best hitter for the Nationals all season.
Candelario again.
Candelario?
I don't know. There's kind of you go softer on the A in the middle than I think, but I don't mind it.
Okay.
Sounds cool.
Not trying to offend anybody here. 8 hits in his first couple games with the Cubs. Back home after a brief cup of coffee, and I think 16. Did he get a ring for that?
You're going there?
I'm going there. Let's see Candelario's ring. Great ad for them. I just think that was a missing piece in their lineup, and I love everything the Cubs are doing right now, and he's at the center of it.
There's a lot of Cubs eligible. You put up 20 and 16. Talkman had some days.
Tom's
the
guy.
Sock man. Dansby is back. 2-homer day. His numbers on the year now. And you know what's funny? I saw the graphic going around the internet. I'm a sneaky big Dansby defender.
Yeah?
Because he was supposed to not be able to play a good shortstop because he doesn't have the arm strength. Won the Gold Glove.
Whoops.
Still doing fine out there. And go look at, there was a meme going around of all the big contract boys at shortstop that went out that was, look at Xander's stats, look at Trey Turner's stats, look at Correa's stats, look at Javi Baez's stats. And here's Dansby, the last shortstop of the big crop.
Yeah.
I think his numbers on the year now
He's got like an 800 OPS.
are pretty nice.
Jake, you want to play a game real quick?
No, Jolly. Yeah, I will.
Give me a percentile guess on Dansby Swanson outs above average.
101.
100. You're pretty close. He's been one of the best fielders in baseball.
I don't know. Not everything is a metric.
Yep.
Sometimes. But I think that dude can still play shortstop. That's my
He's
hot
having,
take.
Like his best season.
Everyone
His first
else
year. That's
has
crazy.
been Snoop Doggy Dog.
How many guys the last few years, like first year of a new contract, new team,
New division. You
No
built in
idea.
He's
excuses.
Couldn't tell you
exact
that.
same OPS plus.
Crazy.
He's
He's been who they wanted him to be.
And ball's looking like it's starting to go at Wrigley.
Yeah.
It's summertime at Wrigley.
Those might tick up.
It's summertime at Wrigley.
yeah.
Ian Happ.
Whoa.
I'm very happy he signed the extension, but God, how much we would have covered Ian Happ's free agency.
Would have been fun.
Out of
We
control.
would have been able to talk to him, too.
It would have been
Maybe that's why he did it. We would have like tortured
Kind
him.
of screwed us over.
He would have gotten texted way too much.
Join the Yankees, man.
I wouldn't have said that.
You like pinstriped uniforms.
Oh, Uncle Steve's throwing the bag. My standout performer.
You're so T right now.
That was mid. I took a shot at the Yankees before I took a shot at the Metropolitans.
You're
That's low T.
Give me your
That was
stand.
low
We're
T.
low T pod.
I'm so
Special
over
T. Hey, Framber Valdez. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm going to read the stat line.
Yeah.
9 innings pitched, 0 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 Ks. That's known in the biz as a no-hitter. Chris Rose did predict it. That was old man Rosie was all over that one.
Just had a feeling, huh?
Framber Valdez. People in Yankee land now, one of the narratives has gone to, like, is Cole going to win his Cy Young? And it's going to be a year the Yankees stink. And Cole's got he's got a path. He's got a pretty clean shot at it. Don't sleep on Framber. That's all I'm saying. His numbers are going to end up there only because they end up there every year. And this guy finished 5th in the Cy Young last year. He doesn't... Pretty simple formula. He does not give up home runs.
Yeah.
He led the league in that last year. Just a little, hey, here's a no-hitter. His second complete game shutout this year.
Yeah.
Those lead the American League. And yeah, man, that's I don't want to say a bonus piece for the Astros, because if you follow baseball, you obviously know that's not true. But Astros, you mentioned a lot of other guys before you get to old Framber, who's just one of the best, if not the best, left-handed pitcher in baseball.
I mean,
Him, Fried.
the story of it is awesome, too,
Clanahan.
because he comes off his worst month,
Sure.
statistically, kind of takes himself out of that front-runner Cy Young position. The Astros add Verlander, their old ace, who was always getting the game one ball over Framber. Framber says, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out there and throw a no-hitter my very next start, which is bodes well for Astros fans.
At night.
Because they look like they're cooking up something special over there once again.
You like this,
We,
JV? Boom.
Next week we update our pedals, and
Yeah.
Framber's the reigning AL pedal winner. So
Second in AL starting pitching WAR. First, Kevin Gausman. Fun.
Punching tickets, Kevin Gossman.
Garrett Cole third.
Punching tickets.
There's your three.
We'll
your
let the
three.
pedals do the voting.
I feel like they can't be doing that while we're recording something that goes.
I
on YouTube.
disagree. I mean, if they let out some
Just
Ed
talk.
Beachy,
If we can just
Jimmy's running around now.
we'll talk over it. Especially in this next segment, my favorite segment of the show.
Dirt nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
Joe, I mean, this has been Trev's lane because I let him taste guys. So I don't know. You think you can handle in Fuego? I don't.
I can handle it.
Okay.
Okay. Ooh, stacked Fuego.
Am I ripping this whole thing?
Rip it.
I'm
hard,
ripping.
and,
Traditionally.
hard and fast.
I'm giving some love to Ryan Mountcastle first off. 11 for 13
That's good.
in the series against the Jays. He's got a career
good.
1,000 OPS against the Blue Jays. He loves facing that team. Thank you very much, Dalt, for that one.
Trade
Highest
for
average.
him, Blue Jays.
Why
Do a
not?
little
A
Willie
little too
Adames there.
That's defense.
Do a little
too
Willie
late.
Adames
A little too
there.
late. Dansby Swanson, we just gave him a ton of love. 5 for 15. 4 home runs in the series against Cincinnati. Why not? Your guy, Ryan McMahon, future Yankee, 5 for 11. 2
Why
homers,
not?
6 RBIs, 2 walks, a 1.5er in that series against the Padres. Juan Soto this past week, have you heard of him? He's been pretty good, 12 for 25, 3 bombs, 8 RBIs, a 1.4 OPS. He's leading the Padres in homers, RBIs, runs, and OPS, 4 stats that I consider pretty important to a degree. Wander Franco loves the Yankee Stadium, hit an absolute bomb into second deck. He went 8 for 23, 3 bombs in that set with 4 RBIs. And then Alec Bohm had a moment.
I thought the Phillies didn't develop, guys.
We're
Jolly.
moving on. We're moving on. 11 for 24. I never said that either, which is crazy that you're just putting that quote in my mouth. That's nuts.
Make the quote.
Hitting 366 with RISP, runners in scoring position. Good for him. Tyler Glasnow.
Yes.
We tasted him a little bit earlier this episode. 14 innings, 2 earnings, 2 wins in his past 2 starts. Sandy Alcantara, already gave you the rundown there. 17 innings, 1
That's
earning
good.
his last 2.
That's
It's good for baseball.
Yeah.
It's good for the Marlins, good for baseball. And how about this?
Yes.
I did not have this in my book at all, so good on you. Enyel De Los Santos, a name I am not familiar with, for the Cleveland in their pen.
Golly.
6 1/3 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, no earnings, 6 strikeouts.
Get
Everyone
your
else in Cleveland.
Get your MLB The Show up with Enyel De Los Santos, or beat them in the DS
I
round
just
every
lost the
year.
entire Guardians fan.
Yeah,
base.
they're out. I have 2 major notes on this.
Yeah?
Tyler Glasnow slid into my DMs last night.
Okay.
Not a big deal. He sent me the clip of Aaron Boone sitting Indian style.
Whoa. Chris Cross.
And he was just like, "This is so fucking fun." And I was like, "Yeah, man, that's like our
That's
number
getting around
one.
now.
That's our number one
Clip
clip
of the year.
this year."
There was a world where we almost didn't post that either, which is
Right. We just
It
didn't
was-
even know what
what
that
the
It
was.
was risky.
Oh,
And
and
you
then
can't be opening windows.
and let me
crazy.
chop down Joe's McFly's Yankees really quick. The biggest eyewash I've seen. I'm not the biggest eyewash guy. I kind of love eyewash.
Okay.
Right. Kevin Kiermaier jumping for balls he doesn't have to.
Sure.
I'm all about it. Give me a little bit of eyewash. The Yankees sent their top scout to the San Diego Padres games. Hey,
In hopes
you
they
want
would sell.
You want to know the scouting report on Soto? Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Lefty.
Kind of feels like I could have done that for them.
That's eyewash. That's eyewash. Great
Come
job,
to the
Jolly.
Yanks, man. Come to the Yanks.
Great job, Ryan McMahon.
You want to win rings?
Great job, Jolly. The IL. Holy smokes, Dalton. Ham.
Jeez.
Straight upgrade from Baloney. Rain, rain, go away. That's what all my haters say. My pockets are...
Talking baseball
Keep
fans
going,
know
man.
it could have been a different clip he sent you in the last week.
Yeah.
Woof.
Jess was in Florida.
Disappointed in me. Oh, that clip.
It would have surprised me if he sent it because we didn't tweet it.
Placed on the IL. Mike Yastrzemski
Yeah.
for those San Francisco Giants. Brendan Donovan. I didn't like that. Like, you're a
Out for the
Cardinals
year,
fan.
too.
You
He's done.
want to watch him play.
Fantasy team.
Bo Bichette. Scary, leading the AL in hits again. Need to get him back quick so he can continue to do that. Griff Canning for your Halos. Ben Lively, Trev's guy. Strosho, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
Shane McClanahan, back to the IL.
Second half woes. Kind of been a thing.
Anthony Rizzo on the IL with concussion syndromes from May 28th. Reminder, it's August. Joe Ryan for
Tough.
Trev's Twins. I hate that.
Hate that.
What I do like is coming back. Jazz Chisholm, would love for him to get in the mix this season.
No rehab, right? That's crazy.
Don't need it. Neither did Judge.
Judge, same injury.
Same injury. Brendan Rodgers. Sure, let's go Rocks. Enjoy something. Syndergaard for Cleveland. 1 start back to the IL. AJ he's off the IL.
Yeah.
I get nervous in the IL segment.
terrifying.
Ryu back, like you mentioned. Minter in that Braves bullpen. They need some help. Tommy Edman is back. Key Brian Hayes. Corey Seager. Important.
Are you aware of the season that Corey Seager's having?
And it looks like the last guy in bold on this sheet to mention was Wade Miley
He's 1-dotting.
for the Brewers. Not sure why that got in
Who
bold.
I think Dalton said, who I think you said his career is over? Is that what you said to me?
I did not.
weeks ago?
I heard rumors around the office, Dalt. Congrats to Wade Miley for being back.
Nice.
Let's finish it off the way to start the weekend.
Awards!
Jolly, I will give you the nod.
That's really sweet of you.
Thank you.
It's my first award ever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go for any for anything big time. I just want to highlight a guy that I think, it warmed my heart to see this guy go out there, take the ball in what I consider a big game and ball out for his new team. It's the first day of school award.
Yes.
You're leaving home.
Oh, big day.
For the first time.
New outfit.
7 years. You've been home for that long time, and you're going somewhere else. You're going north of the border for your first day as well, might I add. And Jack Flaherty had some juice going. Now, I know I've listened to, I think, 1 or 2 maybe episodes of Talking Baseball ever. I'm not huge on it for you guys specifically. But I've heard that you guys like Jack Flaherty. You're fans of him. You're friends with him. He's the first pitcher to go 6 or more innings with 1 run allowed or fewer in his Orioles debut since 2017. They haven't gotten that kind of electric debut in 6 years. And Jack Flaherty was really the only guy they added of any substantial, notability. And he comes out there and he balls out against a really, really good Blue Jays lineup. That's like Max Scherzer got to ease in against, a lowly White Sox lineup. He did his job. I'm sorry. I'm saying it. Whatever. It was a nice first go for him. Jack Flaherty, you're throwing him into the fire. You say, hey, we won 2 or 3. We want to win this series, keep our streak going, be the best team in baseball. We got you to do that job. And he went out there, and his fastball had more life than it did in the past 21 starts.
Interesting.
That's crazy. 97 on the gun. If they can have him go like that for the rest of the season, and you combine that with your Dean Kramer, your Bradish, your Kyle Gibson, maybe they don't need a Verlander. Maybe they don't need a Scherzer. Maybe they can go without that name value ace. And Jack Flaherty could be that guy, man. He could really be that guy.
I liked Flaherty at the deadline. And yeah, there is some bias there. Trev's friends with him. We did a live show with him a while back. And people are right. A normal starting pitcher, some of his starts in the past year where he had 6 walks, we'd probably deliver that message differently. Adrenaline is real.
Yep.
A fresh start is real. And yeah, it's something to track as it goes because, it could have been the juices are flowing. Like you said, Cardinals baseball is all he knew that, maybe this is one off and the stuff comes. Maybe he's drinking the Kool-Aid down.
And changes
there.
of scenery are always
I'm
real.
excited.
Even going
thing.
from a good culture
It's
like
a
the
thing.
Cardinals historically have, not this year.
Whether you're,
But
changing companies and, quote unquote real life or whatever it is, that stuff matters.
I mean, Camden Yards was packed
And
out last weekend. That's going to be a nice first start.
Imagine this. Let me take you on a journey.
Take me in there.
The Cardinals clubhouse this year, I told us before the show we had to limit our usage of the word toxic.
I haven't said it.
I'm proud. Cardinals locker room, think about the baseballisms, one day at a time and we got to win tomorrow. They hit a point where those were out.
Yeah.
And it's a locker room of dudes. And Nolan Arenado, we saw he had a weird presser where he was just talking and clearly frustrated and not knowing what's going on.
Guys that are used to
The Cardinals
success.
thought they were a World Series team this year. It was done by June.
Yeah.
The vibes in that locker room were in a bad place. Yachty's gone. Waino was out for a chunk of it.
Mm-hmm.
Heard some, not from Jack. Me and Jack aren't that close. Sometimes we'll DM about a big sports game or something. We're not on that level.
replied to some stories.
Heard the things are, and just picture it. World Series aspirations, we're out.
I mean, I've lived that season for another team. I can
The
picture it.
clubhouse vibes are weird. To
Yeah.
go to the Orioles, where we're doing the sprinkler, where things couldn't be better, that also matters.
And Jake, at 27 years old, he's like a veteran on this team.
Yeah.
Which is insane because it's a team full of 21 to 23-year-olds who are all just balling out in basically their first or second year. He's a leader now. And I think that's a fun new role for him that he's probably never had before when he was the young guy with all of the Cardinals vets for
Fit
the
in.
longest time.
Particularly among the pitching staff.
Exactly.
Fit in or ship in.
It's really cool. I'm excited for him.
Phrase. Yeah, and I liked him. I had him going to me and Dalt Snakes because I liked. He could give you his high end potential is high.
Yeah.
His low end potential is kind of low. If he lost it for a little bit.
He has games where he just doesn't have it.
You can also butter knife his stats that since May he's been a lot better. I think he's been a mid-3 ERA guy since May. So
we know just injuries have been a part of his story last few years.
Who knows where the body's at, where the energy's
it's just
at.
a perfect match for me. It really
That's
is.
a big left field. Make him hit it out there. It's an out.
Get some juice.
Austin Hayes diving play to help save that first game. What would we have said about the 3 out of 4?
Right,
Would have just been a split.
Yep.
Little things matter.
All right, 2-team split.
Game of inches.
Game split. 2 good teams. My last and final award. Man, this goes to another guy I like. I'll admit there's a little bit of bias here, and I'll admit he's making me look good in a way. I'm giving the Fasted Dieting Award, a team we talked about a lot this episode. It's going to Jameson Taillon, a guy who's been on this program, a guy that was on the Yankees for a little bit. The Yankees were playing the Cubs, and I went on Cubs radio, and they were like, hey, buddy, like, what's going on with Taillon? Because this is tough to watch. Yeah. ERA in the 6s. He gets a taste of the best medicine. The New York Yankees offense goes 8 shut piece, kind of dominant, nasty. And he has now gone on a heater.
Yeah.
Before that start, I told them, I was like, Taillon's weird because he'll go through bad stretches, and he doesn't have pitch ninja stuff. Like, his best pitch, IMO, is a 4-seamer high in the zone at like 94, but it's a deceptive pitch.
Not the most gifable pitcher.
No, but you know he throws a lot of pitches. There's a pitch mix stuff there, and he gets a little streaky. And now his last 4 starts, 25.1 innings pitched to the tune of a 1.78 ERA. So you know we've talked about stealing Stroman a lot.
Yeah.
Hendricks joined that rotation. Taillon had been bad. Has he turned the corner and got it going? To get really hot in baseball, you kind of need everything to click. Like, that's one of the secrets. Like, you need the rotation to give you an effort. You need the offense to go, and you need to do it on the back end. The Cubs are kind of getting it every which way right now, and that's why they're winning a lot of ball games. So, and I'm happy for Jameson Taillon. Like, him and Taijuan Walker were very similar free agents to me. Like, that's flip a coin and see what happens. Taijuan Walker has been balling out. You mentioned leading the NL in wins.
Yeah.
Jameson Taillon had been bad, and that leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth. The fans, it's hard to like that guy.
Of course.
So I'm happy for JMO, and he's been a big part of the Cubs' turnaround 4-0 in those starts. That helps.
I'm going to give you 2 stats.
2 stats.
That really stand out to me.
Those stats.
The Cubs went 0-8 in his first 8 starts.
It's not great.
That is the definition of net negative in your first year of this new free agent. And you mentioned he doesn't have that electric stuff, that overpowering pitching ninja stuff. These past 4 starts where he's been great. 4 strikeouts, 5 and 4. But the thing is, Cubs defense behind him, really, really good. Dansby Swanson, arguably the best fielding shortstop in the game right now. Nico Horner at second base. Ian Happ in the outfield. That's a formula, and it could have been working all season. I'm glad that it's working now because that as a bonus piece to Steele, Stroman, and Hendricks, that's a formidable playoff rotation. Taillon's really important to this team, and he's having an awesome month.
Jolly Olive, you're having an awesome month.
Thanks, man.
Ball and play. Champs with 2 of them right now. BBD and Jolly.
Everyone here's bannered up.
Thank you for filling in. I know you'll be doing that in baseball today. In a second, I got to start getting the body loose.
Yeah.
It takes
First game.
Takes a while to get this thing into gear.
I'm
now.
excited to watch you play. I missed this last year.
I am too.
So I'm excited to watch you play.
Sometimes I have moments, sometimes I don't. So I'm a little scared. Hey, thank you everyone again. Talking baseball. We've been in the summer spin cycle for a little bit. All-Star game, deadline. I think we're getting back to a little bit of routine. I think next Friday I'm out. But is your team out? Jake sucks. We'll see you guys. We love you so much. Go baseball.
John, you want to come in next Friday?
If you'll have
With me. Champs. The champs are here. One's in that box. One's here.
What's in that box?
One might be there soon.